Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello. I'm just going to be inviting our friends. It's not Tuesday, guys. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. Whole new day here. It's a special interview. Special interview tonight. Thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. How you guys doing? Hey, Kim. Hey, Luann. Hey, everybody. Hey, KP. Thank you for joining on a Thursday. Hello, Richard. Hi, Jax. Hi, everybody. Waving to you all. Dr. Sheila. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for coming. Hey, Judith. Oh, Sugar Cookie Books. Hi. Books by Deirdre. Hey, everybody. Hey. So, it is Thursday, and it is not Tuesday because we were busy on Tuesday. We had the readathon all day for BCALA, the Black Caucus of American Librarians Association. I hope that you got a chance to watch. We were on Zoom. This was so different. You know, we were on Clubhouse last time, but this time we were on Zoom, and it was great. Yes, Sinead, the whole gang is here. The whole crew is here. Richard and his crew. And you know he's going to be starting some trouble up in here tonight. I know that's why y'all are here. You didn't want me to have to deal with Richard by myself. I appreciate that. I really do. Because you know he's going to cut up. But anyway, we did. We had so much fun on Tuesday. I moderated the Children's Hour and a little beyond, and it was just great. I popped in a couple of sessions during the day. It was from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Some of the historical pieces that were read, and people were able to just share different themes throughout the day. It was very good. I enjoyed everybody I heard, not just the selections, but the readers. There were some really good readers. I loved the voices and the expression, just really good. I enjoyed the whole experience. Even if I didn't read or moderate, it would have been a very enjoyable experience for me. And we were raising money for BCALA, so that's important too. So thank you to all who came. That was great. So I look forward to doing it again. I mean, we just finished, but it was really great. Hi, Granny. How are you? Hey, Michaela. So tonight we are continuing with our special series that I'm calling Help for the Holidays, because during this holiday season, instead of interviewing children's book authors, we're interviewing the experts in the field, the ones that can give us some tips and information and help so that we can plan to have a great 2022. We can plan to go into this new year with information, right? And ideas, and so spark our creativity and just be on fire so that we can produce some results in the new year and sell some books and build our brand and all of that stuff, right? All that stuff they're going to teach us. So we started with writing coach LK, Lynette Kincaid. That was excellent. She gave us some really, really good tips, and I just love her energy. Plus, she has her new book coming out, Letters to Mom, Writing to Heaven, which you can pre-order. That was excellent, really excellent. I can't wait for that book. And then we had Elizabeth Mays from Mays Multimedia and Valley Publishing, who is my publisher, an indie publisher. She's done both of my books. And she shared a wealth of information about publishing, about printing, and a lot of other valuable information that she gave us. And you can look at both of their interviews from my page, okay? And tonight, one of our favorite people is here, Mr. Richard Ashby, who is the director of Still Rocks Library in Pennsylvania. He also is the co-founder of Literacy Nation Library. And I would say, if I could come up with a name for Mr. Ashby, he is like the indie author hero. He's our hero. He's our champion. And he does a lot for indie authors, and his heart is to help us. And so he'll share about that. And you'll get to meet him if you haven't met him. You can ask him some questions, and I'm looking forward to this. I really am. So before we bring Richard in, authors out there, what are you doing for the holidays? What are you doing? Do you have anything on sale? Do you have any specials? Do you have a new book coming out? Ricky the Rockstar, yes. Kim, yes, Ricky the Rockstar. I'm asking you that because Michaela Ben is going to be with us Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the 7th. And she is our children's book marketing expert. She's also a podcast host, and she's an author herself. So she's going to be able to share a lot with us. And then the final week before we close this out for the end of the year, a very special person that you guys all know and love is going to be with us on December 14th. It's me. I'm going to be the guest on December 14th. So you guys can ask me whatever questions you want. Most importantly, during this show, I'm going to have a holiday drop-in. So if you're watching out there, you can request to come into the live, and you'll have 5 minutes to share with us about what you got going on for the holidays. Tell us about your book. Tell us about your plans for the next year. So you guys can hop in and out. It should be fun. It'll be a nice way to end the series and bring in the holiday. Okay? So now, as always, I tell you about my books. Johari the Great, that's what started it all. This little guy with his pencil, using his imagination and discovering his gift of writing. He's awesome. He's awesome. Coloring book to go with that. Both of these are learning books. So there are worksheets in the back. And the coloring book, I don't even know if I ever showed you guys that, but the coloring book has fill in the blanks as well. So most of the pages, they have to answer a question from the story. So that's a good way to keep things going as far as comprehension. And then, why am I here? The book is here. Why am I here? A child's book about purpose, which my sister, Jacqueline Cran, read last night on her show, Storytime with Jax. It was awesome. When I first wrote this book, the only thing I had in my head was her reading my book. And I asked her before it was even created, before I even started my Kickstarter. So that was exciting for me. You can go to her page, Storytime with Jax, and check out her reading this book. It was a great experience. So this book teaches children about purpose. It promotes diversity. It also has discussion questions in the back that I'm hoping parents will go over with their children and start that conversation about purpose. It's more than just, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's about the purpose in here. You know, what's in your heart? What do you feel like you have to give? Where do you want to go, right? So that's what this book is about. And everything is on sale on my website. You can learn more about me. You can learn more about my charitable work. Giving away 500 copies of this book. I've given away several hundred copies to get all together. I want to do more. So I've given away a few hundred copies of Johari the Great as well. And I have some plans in the new year to be able to increase my giving and increase, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it until I make an announcement, but I got some plans to do some things and take my friends with me. Okay, so we'll learn all about that later. All right. I love my author friends. So where is Mr. Richard? Okay, Mr. Richard, hi Virtuous, can you please request to join my live so I can bring you in? I hope I said hi to all you guys. Hey Rashida, did I get you all? Mr. Richard, where are you? Okay, I'll ask him to join. All right, you guys got your notebooks? Okay, I sent you a request, Richard. We're going to be taking notes. There he is. Hello, Richard. Yay, you're finally here on Kid Author Connect. Yes.
Hello.
Wait a minute. I thought you were going to wear the elf costume.
Hold on, let me cut my gospel down. Hold on.
Oh, he's really going to do it. Okay, so Richard showed up in the library today. He had the children's library today, and he had a full elf costume, pants, jacket, hat, the whole thing.
Well, so I planned on wearing the elf outfit, but wearing the elf outfit from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, you begin to feel a little elfy.
I bet. A little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, you know, I'm so happy that you're here. This is a great honor for me. You have quickly become one of my favorite people.
And you mine too.
Yes, and you're like a big brother to me. You've really taken me under your wing, and you're.
I can't hear you.
It's getting to know you. You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. It's been an incredible experience for me, and I speak for all my author friends too, you know, not just getting to know you, but to learn so much from you. Really.
And I learned from you all also.
Yeah, it's true. So for those people, whoever they are, that don't know you, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Richard Ashby. I work for the sanitation department. And
oh my gosh.
I pick up the garbage cans and then I put bleach in the cans and I wash them out. And I'm really
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And that's what I. That's what.
Oh
no! Oh wait, that's my other personality. I have so many.
That was your former life.
Okay, I'm Richard E. Ashby Jr. and I am the past president of the New York State Black Librarians Caucus. I'm the immediate past president of the Black Caucus of the American Librarians Association. I am the founder of the Pennsylvania Black Librarians Caucus. I am the co-founder of Literacy Nation Incorporated. Is with literacy and justice for all. I am the director at the Stowe Rock Public Library, but most of all, I'm a child of God.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, and you never miss an opportunity to say that. Another reason why we love you, another reason. So I met you in a Clubhouse room. I can't remember what the room was, but it was last year, and I was new. Was it last year? That might have been early this year. I was new to Clubhouse.
It was around April 17th, 18th.
April, okay. I didn't know anything, and I heard you speaking, and I heard you say to reach out to you if you want to learn how to get your books in libraries, and that's what I did. And I just started following you around and learning from you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's a two-way thing. You all learn from me, and I learn from you all, and then I learn about myself through what I'm doing.
Right. And so this process has landed you on Clubhouse with the largest library group on Clubhouse. Is that right?
Yes. And I didn't even know that. I was just looking through. If you Google Clubhouse and you Google your name, you put statistics, you can see your followers and how you are doing on Clubhouse.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I Googled Literacy Nation Library on statistics, and then I went into Clubhouse and put in library, and Literacy Nation comes up first as a library. If you put in library, you can put in author talks, put in whatever topic you want, and it'll tell you what club is number one. And Literacy Nation is number one by, it's like, the closest one to us is 750 or 780, and we have 2,100.
2,000, yeah. Yeah, so that was a big moment when we hit 2,000. That was pretty exciting. Wonderful. So, Literacy Nation Library on Clubhouse. It is it's a family environment, really. We have great discussions. We have a lot of fun in there, but there's a lot of learning to do. And I think the thing that I like the most about our Clubhouse room, Richard, is the support that we give to each other.
It's support with love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's support with love. It's advice with love. It's all done in love, and it's all done with the goal of helping you grow as an author, as an editor, as a person, it's all done in love. I always tell my staff is, you know, in the library when they get really serious, I say, look around. This is not an operating room. There's no lives lost. The only
Right.
life can be lost in a library if you don't give the proper service to someone. But you can't make a mistake in a library. What are you gonna do? Put the wrong tag on a book? Oh God,
You ruined it now. Right.
right now, you know. So
Right.
it's not that serious.
Yeah. Well, that lighthearted way that you have with us, it really makes a difference. It makes a difference to I would say all of us. You know, you mean a lot to us. So I want to ask you, I guess how did you get started? You shared with us in the room before that your mother told you that you were going to be a librarian way back when you weren't even doing well in middle school, I think.
Yes. So here's what people need to understand. You have you can be on a path and different things will happen to you to put you back on that path. And you don't know it. And so I was on a path to be a librarian and I didn't know it. Um, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a DJ early. Then I wanted to be a Baptist preacher and a congressman and a lawyer. I wanted to be all those things wrapped up into one.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was about 16, 15, 16 in New York City, my cousin played for Chaka Khan and all these big bands. And every Friday night, we would go to the Apollo, or we would go to different places to clubs and hang out. And we had a best friend named Chucky, and we were like, Chucky, come with us. And Chucky would say, no, I'm going to the library. The library has a program tonight. And that was the funniest thing to me. A program, who in their right minds would go to a library on a Friday night? That's just the craziest thing I ever heard of. And I was, what we call it, snap on him, and I would joke on Chucky and make Chucky feel so bad. He would go home like almost in tears every Friday night. And then one day my mom said to me, she says, you know, the way you hate libraries and when you talk about libraries, you're going to be a librarian one day. What? This woman's crazy. But of course, I didn't say that to her. In my mind, I was like, that has to be the craziest thing anybody. She goes, I'm looking at you, and you it's on you. It's all over you. You're going to be you will be a librarian because you love books, but you can't read that well, so you pretend like you don't like books. And she went on and on and on. Whatever. So I never said anything. In college, I worked in a library. You know, you had a choice. They give you these big choices where you work for work study. I picked the library because I thought it was going to be easy. I worked in a library in college. My first job out of college, I worked in the New York City Library, and I was chewing gum, and the lady came up and she said, spit that gum out and start shelving those books. And I went to lunch, and I never went back again. And I became a state trooper, and I was a state trooper for a while. But while I was in college, I used to write books. I used to write storybooks, children's books, and do the illustrations myself.
Wow.
And I would go to different libraries and read my stories on Saturdays. And so I decided state troopers was not for me. My personality didn't allow me to be a state trooper. You know, I like to laugh, like, you scored 65, can I have your, you know, I can't do that. You gotta be like, you know, so that wasn't me. So I got married. That didn't work. My then wife would not let me see my son. And someone called me and said, why don't you go to work in the library? And I was like, sure, I worked in a library in the college. So I went to the library, and it was like, the only job open is security guard.
Mm.
And I was like, security guard? I have a college degree. I'm Richard Ashby. I was a former state trooper. I got a security guard, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then my mom said, take the job. And I was like, why would I be a security guard? She said, take the job in the library, because if you're in the library in the afternoons, then you can see your son. He said, because he goes to the library to study. So
Wow.
if you take the job as a security guard, you'll get to see Richie. I was like, you're right. So I took the job as a security guard in the library. And I did the security guard for a little while. The next year, I got a promotion. They made me the custodian with a college degree. And the next year, I worked in the children's department. The next year, I worked in acquisitions, and I worked all over the library, but for 17 years. And the director was going to resign because when I started the library, it was a brand new library. The director was going to resign, and he said, "You know, Richard, you've been here for like 17 years. You haven't done anything with yourself. You, you, you're still the security guard that does everything in the building." And I said, "Okay." He said, "So I'm going to give you a title. I'm going to make you supervisor of pages, and pages are the people who put away the books."
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "You make me supervisor?" I was like, "Yeah, there's only one other page in the building." So he's like, "You're supervising that person." And I became the supervisor of pages. And in February 2005, there was a fight in the library. Demisha was beating the knot out of Tyrone. And all the white librarians were standing around like, and I went over, I broke up the fight, and I said to Demisha, I said, "What's going on?" And she was like, "He called me a name. He called me a name." And I said, "What did he call you?" She wouldn't say. I asked him. He wouldn't say. So finally I said, "What did he call you?" And she said, "He called me a Negro." And the white librarians was like, clutching their pearls. And I said, "Well, he called you a Negro?" And she said, "Yes." And I looked at him. I said, "Well, why did you call her a Negro?" And he said, "Because it says right here in the book, Dr. King and the Negroes marched, to Selma."
Wow.
And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, stop crying. I was a Negro." And she said, "You were a Negro?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "When?" I said, "Well, in 1954, when I was born, I was a Negro. And then in the 70s, I became black. And then I was African American. And now I'm black and African American. I don't really know what I am right now. But when you get older, I don't know what you'll be." And the white librarian said, "You can't tell her that." And I said, "Oh, were you ever a Negro?" I said, "Were you a Negro?" She's like, "Get off the floor." And she made me get off the floor. And I went in the back. I told one of the trustees what she said. And she said, "I don't want to hear from you. You've been in this library for 17 years and haven't done anything for yourself. You need to stop complaining about the white people and do something for your own community." So
Wow.
and I walked out of that office in tears because she walked up. And the next morning I was at the front desk, and the usher from the church came over, and she said, "Shall I go back to church?" And she gave me a check for $100. And she said, "This is seed money. It's not going to do anything for you, but this is seed money to go back to college." And the CDC came in, and they gave me seed money to go back to college. And I went back to school and for my master's degree in library science, and I became a librarian. And my mom died before I became a librarian, but she
But
did.
she knew you were going. She knew you were going for it, though, right?
No, well, she knew I was good at it because she would come to the library and visit, and she would see me doing story hours with the kids, and she saw me in the library, and she was like, "You need to go back and get your degree." But
Yeah.
I didn't go back to get it. But by the time I did go to get my degree, she had passed.
Anyway.
But
Michaela's saying, talk about being called out, but it may have been the exact push that you needed.
it was.
Yeah.
It was the exact push. And and so being who I am, so when I went to school to become a librarian, I went to school to become a librarian because I wanted to be in charge of the library because of all the stuff that was going on in the library. So when I went to school to become a librarian, they ask you, what do you want to be? Do you want to be an academic librarian? You want to be a school media specialist? You want to be a law librarian, a medical librarian, public librarian? What type of librarian do you want to be? And me and my Richard Ashby-ness, I said, I want to be a library director. And they said, "No, sir. No, no, sir. No, no. You have to have your master's degree for 5 years, or at least 5 years, and you have to work in the library, and you have to do some administrative work before you can become a library director. So what do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be a library director." And this is true. I said, "I want to be a library director." And she said, "I just told you, you can't do that. You have to, what makes you think you can just become a library director?" And I said, "Because you don't know the God I serve." It was a black lady. And she said, "Okay, Mr. You don't know the God I serve. we're just going to give you a lot of different library courses and put you down a public librarian, and you become you'll get your master's degree, and the God you serve will make you a library director. Well, I received my degree in May of 2007. In June of 2007, I was library director. I
Wow.
never worked one day as a librarian working.
You went straight to director.
I went straight from security guard to director.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And then I was.
Did you ever see the lady though that said it?
No, I never seen her. And
Wow.
then I was director. Okay, new to the library field, didn't know anybody. Charmaine and I heard about the Black Caucus of the New York Black Librarians Caucus. Now I'm a librarian for 2 weeks, and we go to the Black Caucus meeting, and all these grand black people, these beautiful black men and women, they're sitting there around this table, and they're holding this meeting, and they're just so intelligent, and a fight breaks out, an argument. Bitter argument, because when you're smart, you know more than everybody. Have you ever read the book, The Spook Who Sat by the Door?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there and a fight breaks out, an argument. The vice president quits and walk out. And some of her friends walk out with her. That leaves the president and her friends in the room. That night I went home and I wrote the president an email. I sent the president an email saying, I was at the meeting. I was disappointed how everything worked out. I would like to volunteer to be your vice president for the rest of the vice president's term.
Wow.
And I had only been a librarian for 2 weeks. And she was so mad, she said yes. So the next meeting when I came, she was like, this is, what's your name again? I was like, Richard. She's like, she's our vice president.
Oh my gosh. You talk about God opening up doors.
So,
that is crazy.
And so they were like, vice president. And I didn't realize that the vice president moves straight into the presidency when the president's term is over. So her term was over the next year. So the next year, I became the president of the New York Black Librarians Caucus. And
but by then you knew all about it. I mean, you knew what you were doing by then.
Yeah. And so then.
That is amazing.
And then let's back up 2 years. I was at the American Librarians Association. I was at a conference, and the Black Bacala was there. And I went in the room to speak to the people in the Bacala, and they were like, who is this guy? He's not a librarian. And I was so embarrassed. I was so hurt. And I walked out with a friend. And I said to her, I'm going to be president of those Negroes. I'm going to be president of this organization, and I'm going to change it. And she said, You're not even a librarian yet. I said, I will become a librarian. I will become a president of this organization. And after New York, I ran for the national organization, and I won. And so It's been a rocket. It's been like, and then everybody sees me who knows me. They're like, you took your career just shot up, and it's not me. It's not.
Yes, I mean God. Yes, those doors. That's kind of like what I'm saying to the children in my book. Like, there's doors that will open for you.
Yes,
those doors are for you to go through.
You have to just do things. And so I was director at that first library, and there was some shenanigans going on there, and they would put these big stacks of papers in front of me, and I would sign these papers. And so one day Charmaine said, excuse me, Mr. Director, have you read the papers you're signing, or you just
signing? Oh my goodness.
I was like, well, I worked with these people for like 16 years. They're not going to cheat nobody. She was like, I suggest you read those papers before you sign them. So the next time, the next month came around, it was time to sign the checks. I was like, who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of nonsense was going on. And so I said, I can't sign these checks because there's a lot of nonsense going on. They promptly fired me. They fired me. I was just diagnosed with cancer 2 weeks earlier, and they fired me, and that's how Literacy Nation was born.
Wow.
Once they fired me, my wife was like, well, you've only been a librarian for about 4 months. Maybe you should find another career. And I was like, no, absolutely not. God made me a librarian. I can't do anything else. And so we founded Literacy Nation, and we built our own library in Philadelphia, 12 rooms, 5,000 books. We built our own library. And
that's amazing.
and I made myself director. And then when the job
Good
came,
choice.
and then when the job opening came up for a director in Philadelphia, I applied, and it was like, "Have you ever been a director before?" "Yeah, where?" "At Legacy Nations Library." And I had registered with all the library companies and all the library associations, so it was a registered library. And so they was like, "You, how long you worked there?" "2 years. I've been director." And I had all the programs, and so they hired me because I was director of my own program. So I
Wow.
had to make my own way.
Yeah.
So I made my own library, made myself director. We spent thousands of dollars registering it with all type of organizations and associations, and getting it listed as a library, so that when I applied for libraries, I could say I was a director.
And you actually were.
I actually was.
Well, I'm telling you, you know how you say you have to do your homework? I mean, that's an understatement. The homework that you did,
Yeah.
you know, what you did to put this whole thing in order.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
God opened the door, but you ran through it.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here busting because this maybe next week, in the next week, we have a big announcement to make. Just
I know you can't wait to we're going to the room tonight, right?
huh? Yeah,
But
we have a room tonight, but I can't say what this announcement is. It
you
is
can't say it here, Richard. You
no,
have to wait.
I can't say it until next week when
Okay.
when papers are signed and everything is done. But oh my God, you talking
You're
about
like a kid at Christmas time. So that leads me to this question. What was it that made you I know you're going to say it was God, but what was it that made you want to open up your heart and your library and your expertise and all of that to us indie authors? What was that? Because it's hard for us. You know, we have to compete with the big publishing houses. They don't have any trouble getting their books in libraries and bookstores, but we do. So what was it that made you want to help us?
a combination of things. So I have been trying to do this for years. There's a sister on Clubhouse. I met her on the Greyhound bus 2004, and she was an indie author. And I met her on the bus. We were both on the Greyhound bus. She was on the Greyhound bus traveling across the country selling her books. I was on the Greyhound bus crying because my fiance had passed and nobody would let me cry. But I know on the Greyhound bus, everybody's crying because
Aw,
you got put out of jail or you got put out of the service. So I used to ride the Greyhound bus
you're
across.
so crazy, Richard.
I used to ride the Greyhound bus across just to be sad so nobody would bother me. And I got on the bus one day and this sister was on the bus and she was just so sad. And I was like, "What's going on?" And, she's like, "Well, I'm an indie author and I got these bag of books." And I was like, "Whoa." So I took her book. And then when I finished riding the Greyhound bus and I went back to work at the library, I cataloged it. And my second night on Clubhouse, she was like, "Hey, you're the guy that I met on the bus 10 years ago." So that was then. And then the pandemic hit and I came on Clubhouse. And a couple of years ago, I was trying to do the indie books, but I didn't know the power that I had as a director.
Mm.
I didn't know the full extent of my powers. And then I was on Clubhouse, and and then you and Virtuous and Desi and you all were on Clubhouse talking about you were independent authors, and I was like, independent authors? Whoa, wait a minute! And then you all had stories to tell.
Yeah.
And then I was getting books from sisters that was writing books of affirmation, books of prayers, books of trauma. And so these sisters are writing these books, and that's where I first started with that genre. I didn't start with the children's books.
Children's books, yeah.
And so and these sisters were writing stories about their lives. The pandemic had come, everything slowed down, and now these experiences are coming back up in them, and
Yeah.
they're writing these stories. So now, what's going to happen to this story? You're going to stick it under your mattress. You're going to put it on the shelf, or does your story need to be heard? You don't need to be marginalized. You don't need to be put aside. Okay, the pandemic is over now. You know, forget you were raped. Forget I cheated on you. Forget I beat you. Forget I
Yeah.
lost your kids. Forget you were on drugs and survived. Just go back to the real world. No, we're not having that. And so I said, let me take these books and catalog these books and encourage these sisters. If they never write another book, they have written this book, and their book is in the library and forever in the annals of being an author.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
mean, that I don't know how to, I don't even know what word I want to use, but that changes everything, you
yes,
know. It really does. To have your book validated by being accepted into a library, it doesn't make us any money. You know, you're not getting any money from that, but it's such validation that someone in your position would see that our story is worth something, right? And especially for a children's book author, to know that sometimes children may not have a lot of books at home, but they can go to the library for books. You know, in certain areas, you may not have a home library, you know, a big bookshelf filled with books, but you could go to the library. Because I mean, I did as a kid. I loved to go into the library, whether it was a school
yeah,
library or the city library. But for me, when you told me that, I didn't even understand what in the heck you were talking about at first. Like, well, send him my book and he's going to catalog it. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, he's talking about actually putting it into the library system. And then you did that. You read my book and you did it. And I just can't even tell you what an honor that was for me and what that did for my confidence. And now, almost a year later, to look and see that my book has been around, you know, not just in my local libraries, but even requested by the New York Public Library. That was, you know, we were talking that day and I was like, well, let me just check. And I found that out. I mean, again, it's not about money. It's not about money. It's about someone seeing the value in your book and wanting it in their library.
that's what it's about. And you know, the children's book, and the reason I gravitated more towards the children's books because they're cliche, they're our future. So I was having black kids walking our library past all these books that they didn't see themselves. Women,
Exactly.
they didn't see themselves. The parents were just going straight through, and now they're like, oh my God, Billy Be Kind, Jahari the Great, the Doggins, you know, all of these books, and they're just. I even had one white librarian come in and she actually screamed. She's like, "Oh my God, where'd you get all these books? Where'd you get these books?" The independent authors, and she started writing names down and taking pictures, and that's what I want. I want to be able
Yeah.
to. And so everybody said, "Oh, you help us so much," but you all help me also.
Mm.
This putting these books in the library and putting these and cataloging your books, that's something for me also because now my constituents and my colleagues, they're like, man, you're doing that? Aren't you afraid of the books being banned? Aren't you afraid of the system getting mad at you? That's what I want. I want them to get mad at me. I want the system to get mad at me because the system is white folks.
It's yeah,
When
yeah, it's flawed.
when they call me up and I'll say, and my wife's like, you can't say that. I'll say, yes, I catalog that book. Is what I'm doing making you uncomfortable? Yes, it is making me uncomfortable. I said, well, when you're uncomfortable, I'm comfortable. And that's how it is. When you're uncomfortable, I'm comfortable. When you're upset that I have black books on the shelves, I'm happy. When you're upset that my children could come into that library and those books, like I said earlier this morning, those books are windows and mirrors. Those books are a window. When they open that book, they can see a world that they've never seen before.
Hmm.
And it's a mirror because they see children that look like them.
Like themselves.
Windows and mirrors. That's what it's about. It's about windows.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And that's everybody knows that I could talk about that all day, but that's one of the things that really made me follow you closely because that's why I started writing. You know, I believe that every child deserves to see characters in their books that look like them. especially ours, because we've waited so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've never had a problem with us reading their books.
Not a problem.
And so now with the books that are reflecting children of color, um, yeah, it makes some people uncomfortable, but it's so needed. And so we really appreciate it. So let me ask you this, Richard. You often tell us about making sure that our books are library ready.
Yes.
So can you share with us um, what we need to know about our books being library ready?
Yes. So your book should be well edited. Your cousin Pookie, who just got out of jail and have a whole lot of time on his hands, and who won the spelling bee, cannot edit your book. Go get yourself an editor. You know, your niece, she draws well. You know, I love you, know, and you love little Nene there. You love her, but she cannot be your illustrator. You need to get yourself a professional illustrator, get yourself a professional editor, and get your book edited and illustrated correctly, because that's you. And then you need to get a hardcover if you want it to be in the library.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Dr. Seuss books. His books last forever. You can't kill a Dr. Seuss book.
Mm-hmm.
You can't kill a Dr. Seuss book. Right. Yeah, they're always there. So you get yourself a book that's going to be library ready, and that means get a hardcover book, get a good quality hardcover book, get good quality paper.
Yes, I learned that from, well, Elizabeth just joined. I learned that from my indie publisher. And sometimes when you pick up a book, you can actually not just see, but you can feel the difference in the paper. You know, so there is a different quality to paper. And I shared with you recently in a Clubhouse room. I went to the library, my local library, and my sister checked out my book, Jahari the Great, which is a softcover book. And although it was a wonderful feeling to see that my book had been checked out quite a bit, obviously, it was also just confirmation that yes, this needs to be a hardcover, because the cover was kind of curling up at the edges, and that's a quality book, quality materials, but it's a soft cover.
Yeah.
So I took pictures of it, and my sister and I, we chuckled about it. So it was kind of mixed emotion. And so I did release Jahari the Great is now on Ingram Sparks in hardcover. You should have it soon.
I have.
But okay. But yeah, I just wanted you to know that I get it. You know, I really get it. I really get it. Once you see your book circulating around, and it's great that kids are enjoying it, and you feel, like I said, you feel happy, but you can see that the wear and tear is eventually going to pull the book off the shelves.
Yes, that's very true. And when the library look at a softcover book, they're thinking, I'm never going to have to buy another one, because
Yeah.
it's not going to last. And you're working into it.
Thank you, writing coach. Yeah, thank you, writing coach. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So what is Rashida saying? She had black dolls, but didn't have many books with black characters. The only book was The Babysitter's Club. Oh, had a black character in it.
And I
And
was
she's younger than me, and you're older than me, so we really didn't have much. And I told you before, corduroy was the first time that I saw a little black girl, and it just changed everything for me.
the first time I read anything about anybody black in a book. The book was called Soul Brothers and Sister Lou, one of the greatest books you ever want to read. It is such it's a young adult book. And
Young adult, yeah.
now, we don't have a lot of young adult authors. I want to see you ladies and gentlemen stretch.
Yeah. Well, I introduced you to one, Shauna Williams. I edited her book, the one on the Miseducation of Weed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's gonna have some more books coming out. But you're right, the young adult genre is really an area that we need to grow in for our kids.
Yes. Now, when I was growing up, I used to read a lot of Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah, me too, Richard.
Oh my God, I could not get enough of Pippi Longstocking.
My sister's probably cracking up right now. She's probably rolling her eyes right now because I had every last one of those.
Me too. Pepper in the South Seas was my favorite.
Yeah, those were good. Those are really good.
Then I read the Boxcar Kids.
The what kids?
The Boxcar Kids.
Boxcar Kids. I don't know if I know that one.
That's a great. That was a good series.
Yeah, I don't know if I know that one. Well, let me ask you, Richard, if you could give two main pieces of advice to indie authors, we already talked about the need for their books to be library ready. But if you could give us two main pieces of advice, what would it be? Two things you want indie authors to know.
I want you to know not to marginalize yourself. Don't say I'm an indie author. Say I'm an author. I don't, I don't, I don't want you to think that because you are self-published or you published by indie and you're still not, you're still an author. So say I'm an author. When you go to a library, hi, I'm an author, not
Yes.
author. And the second thing is when you write, be true to who you are. Do not try to write like somebody else. Do not try to write because you see somebody else's book sounded like that because they did. Be right from the heart, right? Be true to who you are. Be your authentic self. And if you are your authentic self, it will come out in that story, it will come out in that paper and that pen. And you will enjoy your book better if you write if you be authentic and write from who you are. Not who you want to be or who you think you want to be. Write from who you are. And that's my advice.
That's good. That's good. That makes my heart feel happy. That's really good. And you're right, because we can compare, we can get caught up in comparing ourselves to others. I mean, any profession, but as an author, struggling to be noticed, we can see what someone else is doing and thinking, oh, yeah, I should have done that, or maybe I should write about that. You are absolutely right. I feel that. And there is a temptation to try to fit, but yeah, just write what's in your heart to write.
Mm-hmm.
Just write what's in your heart to write. I felt that when I released this current book, Why Am I Here? That wasn't even supposed to be. Like, I was working on something else. But I knew the moment I received that I knew exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, and I felt good staying true to myself regardless,
That's
you
not
know.
just a children's book. That's a question I ask myself all the time.
Why
Why
am I here?
am I doing the right thing? Am I
Yeah.
I'm up here in Pittsburgh and I'm like, why am I here? Am I
Yeah.
this where you want me, God? Um,
Yeah.
I asked I didn't ask to come up here, but I was told this is where I have to be. So I'm up here in Pittsburgh. Um,
And he's going to move you somewhere else when it's time for you to go. Then he's going to open up another door. And you're right. That's part of the reason why I wrote that book, is because I struggled with that too.
mhm.
I'm one of those people. My sister always says I do everything well. I do too many things. I always want to do everything. And I can do a lot of different things, but that doesn't mean that those are the things that I'm supposed to do, right?
Right.
So yeah, you do struggle, and so I wanted to open that conversation up with children, and I hope that that's what my prayer is, that God will allow me to be able to do that,
That's a good,
because yeah,
good.
we need to know.
That's excellent because, um, like I'm here. Our prayer, our prayers have been God. We're here. You gave us an assignment. I think we've completed that assignment. Where do you want me now? Um, there are big libraries that I can go to. I don't know if that's what he wants me as
Right.
a big library with a lot of different branches where I don't have my hands on. Um, I'm saying, God, I want to retire. So I don't know what he has for me, but I'll tell you this, and this is, oh God, I'll tell you this. This is the weird part of me. This is weird. Okay, ever since I was a little boy, there is um there is a smell. There is a certain smell that I smell. I can remember from the first grade, I would tell my mom, "Do you smell that?" And then as I got older, this aroma became comforting, and
Mm.
that God is getting ready to do something in my life. And was it Sunday morning? I was shaving, and that smell, and the smell came. And I said, and I called Charmaine. I said, honey, the smell came. And she said, it came? And I said, yeah, the smell came. And she knows that every time this smell comes, something big happens in my life.
There's a word for that. I know there's a word for that. Now I have to look it up.
It is?
Yeah.
And the smell came. And then it came again yesterday. And sometimes it's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, or just a swift. But it came, and God is telling me to get ready. And I've always my whole and I called her. I was like, I got the smell. I got the smell. So let's see. Let's see.
Wow. Wow. Well, you have a very remarkable story. We could never even begin to tell an eighth of your life story, but we've all been encouraging you, and you have promised to write a book.
It's not a food smell. It's not a food smell. It's a natural smell. It smells.
But you don't know what it is.
Right. It smells clear. It smells comforting. It's not a scent. It doesn't have a scent to it. It's a smell without a scent, but it's a comforting smell. It's like very clean, very, I don't know.
Wow. I don't even know what to say. I mean, that's a personal thing that God has blessed you with, obviously. So that has to go in the book. That's basically where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Next year, you are going to start with your book.
Yes.
All right. We're going to all be anxiously awaiting that, because I'm not going to let you forget, because we're going to work on this book. Because your life story is remarkable, Richard. You have overcome so much. It's almost unbelievable that one person went through all the things that you went through. And for me, you went through all that, and you still have such a big old heart.
Yeah, I went through
to help everybody else.
Had a bout with drugs, homelessness, divorce, cancer.
Your eyes.
My eyes was what happened. I can look like I'm sleeping now, but they're gonna operate on my eyes in a couple of weeks, so I'll be like, I can see everything.
You are so silly. But you lost your eyesight too.
Yes, I was blind for 4 years. Yes, I was blind for 4 years. I got I flushed some drugs in the toilet in the library, and the brothers didn't appreciate it. So when I was walking on the street after work, and they hit me in the head with a pipe, and I went blind.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And look what God is doing through you, Richard.
Yeah.
And you know what else is, like, I never, when I was growing up, I don't know about anybody else, but I never saw a male librarian, and I sure didn't see a black male librarian.
Not a blue-black one.
Oh, Richard. But really, though, I mean, that you are such a role model. Just the fact that you're a black man who is a librarian and a library director, but just a black librarian, period, is a big deal.
That's right.
And to be aware of the Black Caucus of American Librarians Association, until I met you, I would have never even known anything like that existed.
And they just fell in love with you.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear. But it makes me so proud, though. You know what I'm saying? It makes me proud to know that all over this country, there are black librarians. But until you really get into it, it doesn't dawn on you that that's even possible. I don't know if it's just me or if anybody else feels that way, but I was so proud when I found out, like, wait a minute, there's a Black Caucus there's that many librarians out there black, that there's a caucus?
And when you were in school to be a black librarian, there was no black men in school with me. It was all white girls.
You see?
All Karens, a room full of Karens. They used to try to sabotage my programs and everything. But going through school, that's a whole different story. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But
it makes you proud, though, Richard. It makes me proud to know you and to know that there's other people like you. So if you guys have any questions before I let Richard go, you can ask them. I want to make sure, because I am enjoying this, and I could talk to you forever. I could talk to you forever. But yes, everybody else is enjoying the conversation as well. And I guess you saw Rashida was asking, was it a food smell or nature smell?
Hey, that's what I was, it was a...
Yeah, so that means that Yeah, Jordan's saying she never saw a black male librarian either. But there's a lot out there because when we went to the conference, that's another thing. You took us to the national conference, you know, and you're just putting us in front of all of these black librarians, and that's major. That's major. But that's when I realized that there were so many other men, black men that were librarians
Yes.
as well. So there's so much hope for the next generation,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
In the Clubhouse tonight at 8:35.
8:35. Okay, so that's like 5 minutes. Well,
No,
less than 10 minutes. So anything else you want to say to everybody, Richard?
no. I just like to say to you, thank you for letting me be myself again.
Of course. Of course. How could I do anything else? We love you just the way you are, Richard. We really
And,
do.
and you
You
know,
and Charmaine are awesome.
I just want to say that earlier today, Jax and Zanette and Virtuous, they were back channeling me, telling me to come on your show and just act crazy and mess up your show.
Oh my gosh, were
But
they? My sisters were
yeah,
telling you that?
they were doing. They were trying to get me to come on your show and act up and all. And I said, no, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. And Billy Be Kind,
Her too?
yeah, her too.
Wow.
Watch these girls.
Right. I can only imagine what they're saying to themselves. But thank you, Richard. Thank you for coming and sharing with us and the advice that you shared.
Yeah,
So I think all of us now, we're not just indie authors, we're authors. But
yes,
we're going to be thinking more of making sure that our books are library ready.
yes, yes. On a serious note, I really appreciate everybody, all the authors. Like I said before, you all are like sisters to me. You know, you all are like sisters to me. I just love you all. I can't, I don't know. I don't have a lot of, because I don't want, I don't have a lot of friends outside of the library world or outside. You ladies and gentlemen on Clubhouse have become my friends. We have exchanged phone numbers and email addresses, and we talk, we text late at night. I'm texting Naomi last night. She's like, go to bed, good night, bye.
Right. Good night.
Good night, I'm a married guy, I gotta go. But
Yeah.
that's the joy of it all, you know. Just
It is. Yes, it's a wonderful community, and I know we all appreciate it. So, well, I will let you go so I could meet you in the clubhouse room.
yes, yes.
Okay, and thank you, everybody. Mr. Ashby, you are just highly regarded and appreciated.
Are there any parting gifts?
Oh, let me let you go. Go get the room ready.
You know,
There's no parting gifts, just my thanks and gratitude. You are a mess, Richard Ashby. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much, Richard.
bye.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining. The video will be posted in just a little bit. He is so funny. But what an amazing story. And he has promised to allow me to help him with his book. So we will be getting started on that the first quarter of the year. So we will stay on him to make sure he gets that done. He's done so much for us. And yes, Jordan, he has such a testimony. And it's just something how God, connects you to people. And it's not a coincidence, it's just not a coincidence. And he ties our purposes together in such a beautiful way. And I know what he means about the community. Like, you guys are my brothers and sisters, and I can't even imagine not having you in my life. Like, it was a year ago and I didn't even know you. That seems crazy sometimes because you're part of my journey and part of my family too. So I love you guys, and I'll see you on Tuesday, and Michaela will be with us. Okay. All right. See ya.